new one. We're going to find the derivative of y with respect to s. Y equals s times the square root of 1 minus s squared plus inverse cosine of s. So for cosine inverse, we're using this formula here. So I'm going to write it a little bit bigger here. This is our formula. So we will have s. This first term, we're going to differentiate. So we're going to have y prime equals, and you're differentiating with respect to s of s times the square root 1 minus s squared plus, we're going to differentiate with respect to s inverse cosine of s, and that's where we'll use this formula. So this part we're just using the product rule. So you take your s and differentiate this. So that's going to be, remember, write this as 1 minus s squared to the 1/2. So that's going to be 1/2 times 1 minus s squared to the negative 1/2. Then you have to take the derivative of that, which is going to be negative 2s. So that's going to be equal to, when you're going to move this in the denominator. So this is going to be times 1 divided by 2 is already in the denominator, times the square root 1 minus s squared. And then you have to multiply that by your negative 2s here. So I just made it a little bigger. All right. And then plus, you copy this down, times the derivative of s, that's just 1. So we don't need to write that. Now let's do this part, and you're just copying this formula down. Negative 1 divided by square root of 1 minus s squared. And now all we have to do is let's get our common denominator. Our common denominator is going to be let's see. Let's cross out the 2's first. So if you multiply this together, you're going to get s times s is s squared divided by square root of 1 minus s squared. Now, I want this to have the same denominator. So this is going to be, if I want this to be the denominator of 1 minus s squared, I have to multiply this by that. So we have square root of 1 minus s squared times square root of 1 minus s squared. All right, and then we just copy this down. Now that we have the same denominator, this part right here is just going to turn out to be, when you multiply these two, 1 minus s squared. Because that's just that squared together. So what we'll get is negative s squared plus 1 minus s squared minus 1 divided by square root of 1 minus s squared. Now let's simplify the numerator further. That's going to be negative s squared plus 1 minus s squared minus 1. So what happens here is the 1's cancel. So we're going to get, and then we have our square root of 1 minus s squared. So this is going to equal negative 2 s squared, all divided by square root of 1 minus s squared. And this is your final answer. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.